Hi everyone! Unfortunately, since Evil Sway vanished in my last video, I haven't been able to get a hold of her. Something about an evil vacation, I don't know, but we have some things to discuss, particularly returning minions, so we're gonna do that solo style today. Let's go. If you missed any of my previous videos about the upcoming season so far, you can check them out. I'm going to link them in the top right now, specifically the Duos announcement, Duos minions, and our new minions. So this video today kind of completes the puzzle for us. Let's go ahead and start with Beasts. Beasts have a couple returning minions and a couple changes to existing, but returning is on tier 1, the Kindly Grandmother. This is a very old minion. This is a 1/1 that summons a 3/2 Big Bad Wolf. And stat line wise, this seems like a pretty parallel replacement for the Surf and Surf, but without the movable death rattle and without the dual type. All of the rest of the beasts on tier 1 and tier 2 seem pretty damage based, and this one doesn't. This is just a tempo minion, which early in the game, tempo is good. So I see no problem with just running this to potentially avoid taking some damage in that early game. Also coming back is the Octosari, but this time on tier 5 instead of tier 6. This is a death rattle which summons a 2/2 tentacle, gaining +2/+2 permanently for each minion summoned during combat. With the removal of some of the swarm, I'm curious to see how this is going to fit. But there's still a lot of support for Swarm in Beast, so I think it'll fit just fine. Speaking of Swarm, one of our changing minions is our tier 6 Goldrin. Goldrin is going to remain on tier 6, but gets a little buff of giving +3/+3 instead of +3/+2. It's not a super large change, but the monstrous Macaw on tier 3 is getting a very, very big change. Macaw now reads, after this attacks, trigger your leftmost death rattle. This is massive because there's been many times where you're like, oh, I wonder what Macaw is going to proc. I don't have room on my board for this, but I have room on my board for that. Oh, I forgot I had a death rattle here and I have 1 second left. There's so many situations where Macaw accidentally does something you don't want it to do. And now triggering your leftmost death rattle means that that can't happen anymore. This is one of the biggest changes in my opinion, and I really, really like this. And now we are moving on to demons. Wrathweaver is getting a change. It's just a change to the golden version though. The golden version now has the opportunity to proc twice with the card reading it the same thing as the normal version, but at the end it says twice. This specifically is really great for Floating Watcher, for Tichondrius, and for Soul Rewinder growth. So overall, we have some really good potential growth for the demons. However, this is a little extra damage. So if you're playing this without Soul Rewinder, make sure you keep that in mind. Speaking as someone that has accidentally lethaled themselves from demons multiple times. Aside from that, there's not too much more. Our friend Malcazar, Prince of Dance, will be going from tier 4 to tier 3, and we are welcoming back Backstage Security on tier 1, which deals 1 damage to your hero at the start of turn. I like this additional opportunity for growing health early in the game for Soul Rewinder, as well as a slightly larger body on the board for the first couple turns. Notably, the golden version is getting a similar treatment to Wrathweaver, as the golden version now says twice as well. That's it for demons, and now we're on to dragons. We saw a big change from the end of turn removal to the start of combat synergy. This change, I think we were all expecting this, seeing that the prized promo Drake was in the blog post, but yes, Terragosa is coming back to tier 3, which permanently keeps your enchantments from combat. Keep in mind that the Persistent Poet dragon also allows adjacent dragons to keep enchantments from combat. So you can move that around your board, you can run 2 of them, and just build a very large dragon board during your combats. Only one other change here is that the Electric Synthesizer is moving up to tier 4 and giving dragons +3/+1. There's still a very present Battlecry synergy for dragons, with Skyfin and Caligos remaining in the game, so there's a good dichotomy between the start of combat or the Battlecry. Either or both. Elementals have some fun minions returning. On tier 1 instead of tier 2, we are welcoming back the Molten Rock. Additionally, Celemental and Party Elemental will both be staying in, but both will be relocated to tier 2. That's right, so Party Rocking is back, but Celemental, a very important tier 1 economy unit, is now moving up to tier 2, gaining a stat line, going to a 3/3 and summoning a 3/3, but still, this minion is now located on tier 2 instead of tier 1. The stat line for Party Elemental is also changing. It is moving down to tier 2, so it's going from a 2/5 to a 3/2, and it's giving +1/+1 instead of +1/+2. Also, coming back to elementals, although the combo is gone, it's one of my favorites. Murloc is back. This is an elemental Murloc with the end of turn effect of gaining +1/+1 for each minion you've played this turn. One very important distinction there. This is not like Sandstone Drake. It specifically says minions, where Sandstone Drake said cards. This means if you are playing spells, this will not progress Magmaloc. You have to be cycling minions to get the value on this one. Moving on to Mech. That's it. No returning or change minions. That was easy. And Murloc time. Well, okay, we already talked about Magmaloc, but we also get to welcome back two of my favorite Murloc, both on tier 3. First is the Scourfin, with the death rattle of giving a random minion in your hand +5/+5. This absolutely had the opportunity to stack, and I just loved this minion. I loved running it with the Macaw, with Rivendare, with N'Zoth. Big fan. Next is the meme-tastic Heedless Hoarder. When you sell this, give a friendly Murloc this minion stats. For really obvious reasons, this is a really fun one, and I'm excited to include it in my Murloc comps again. Onward to Naga. Remember how I said the Elemental is moving up to tier 2? Well, now that I've said it here, I'm sure you know what's coming. The Shell Collector is also moving up to tier 2. Not surprising considering how absolutely valuable and strong this unit is. Alternately, Deep Sea Angler, the Naga that gives the spellcraft of +4 health and taunt, is moving down to tier 1 and only giving +2 health and taunt. The last Naga change is the Dagger Spine Thrasher, and that is the minion that gains Divine Shield, Venomous, or Wind Fury per each spell played for that turn. And that minion is moving up to tier 5. We have one returning Naga, the tier 1 Mini Myrmidon. This is the spellcraft of giving a minion +2 attack until next turn. This means both of our Naga on tier 1 give either +2 attack or +2 health. Pirates are seeing no changes to existing minions, but 2 are returning. With the departure of Southsea Busker, the Deck Swabby, which is a battle cry that reduces the cost of upgrading the tavern by 1, is coming back to tier 1. Additionally, the Defiant Shipwright. Whenever this gains attack, gain +1 health will be back as well. This was very briefly in a previous meta, but it didn't fit the archetype at all, but I'm sure it'll fit much better this time around. Quilboar are another minion type with no changes to current minions, only the return of Gem Smuggler. This is the tier 5 battle cry of play 2 blood gems on all your other minions. I can see a few different instances where this could be a very helpful piece, and actually on Friday, I'm going to be talking about some day 1 combos, and that will definitely be included, so check that out on Friday. Undead are seeing 2 changes. The Disguised Grave Robber is moving down to tier 3 and changing to destroy a friendly undead to get a plain copy of it. I like this a lot better than the current design because right now, unless it's discovered or discounted, it kind of feels like a break even and it destroys a minion, so like it can be useful to destroy a minion to get the death rattle effect, but usually it's not the best feeling minion. However, now it's basically like a mini one-time Kel'Thuzad where you destroy a minion and you get a plain copy of it. So you can use it on a reborn, you can use it on the minion 2 reborn minions, which speaking of, that is the Mummifier, and the Mummifier is moving up to tier 4. It's going from 3 to 4. And I feel like these 2 minions swapping the way that they are is going to be really, really good for Undead. It is now time for neutrals. 2 neutral minions are seeing their comeback. Another one of my favorites for reasons I cannot explain is tier 4 Reef Explorer. This is a battle cry to discover a minion of a type you don't control. This is a really nice rounded out push for Menagerie on tier 4, and I'm not mad about it. Also, the very highly anticipated Leroy the Reckless will be returning. I definitely was missing Leroy. There were so many times that I wished that there was like a removal like Leroy in the game because, you know, we had the Matador, we had Venom, but like currently we don't have a very specific and precise way to remove minions with Divine Shield, with Immune. So this is going to be a really, really nice addition back into the game. 2 spells are seeing a change as well. On tier 3 for 1 gold is Fleeting Vigor, and this now provides a start of combat effect of give your minions +2/+1. This is super synergetic with dragons, of course, but also some really nice extra board presence no matter your build. 1 gold seems insanely cheap for the potential of +14, +7 added to your board. Also on tier 3 for 2 gold, we see the Boon of Beetles. This now reads, When you have space during combat, summon a 3/3 beetle, limited to 3 times per combat. This fills a gap that Feathermane leaves behind without the surprise modifications of Taunt, Reborn, or like 10 turns buffing in hand. And it also changes the feels bad of the current design of the beetles, with death rattles stopping Reborn or potentially happening before other death rattles can occur, and just filling the board with beetles, and you don't get most of your summons. I love this change. I think it's really good. We also have had some hero changes and hero limitations. Following heroes are banned from the following situations. Murloc Holmes is banned from duos because the hero power leads to some frustrating situations. Illidan is banned from all dragon lobbies. So because of the start of combat with Illidan's hero power, start of combat dragons doesn't work out too well. Sire Denathrius and ETC are banned from solos and duos temporarily. Professor Putricide is also banned from duos temporarily. And as for changes, this is a big one. Akazam Zarak, as well as Akazam Zarak's buddy, now chooses from one of 4 fixed secrets: Venomous Trap, Pack Tactics, Auto Defense Matrix, and Redemption. Ice Block has been completely removed from Battlegrounds. This is truly a big deal, but I think with this 1 in 4, it does reduce the feels bad of not hitting the spell you want at the time that you want it, and it also adds some predictability and thought to the tech that you can play around what your opponents are doing with one of these 4 spells. Patchwork has had a small verbiage change for duos. The hero power remains the same, but it says start with 30 extra health. Bran got a bit of a buff and now only requires 4 battle cries instead of 5 to get your brand for the game. Malagos is now able to target spells, which I am a big fan of. We all have those situations where we just can't find our trousers. Hooktusk got a buff and is now able to discover from 3 minions instead of 2. And that's it. Lots of exciting stuff coming up. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we'll each have a video of new things to try for the new season. And Monday, I'll be participating in the Duos live stream preview event at 12 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. Tuesday, I will be live on Twitch for the drop of Duos at 1 p.m. Eastern. Let me know what you're excited for in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.